My name is Magda, and I am a copywriter and content manager at CallPage, an Polish startup, really fast-growing startup. I have gained experience writing copy for student organizations, IT companies, and startup. I also work as a freelance proofreader, translator, and a trainer. And I love sharing my knowledge with others. And that's why I'm really happy to be here. So, what are we going to talk about during the webinar? I will start with some definitions so that we are all at the same page. I expect to have some experienced copywriters here, but I guess there will be also some people who are just starting their copywriting career. And just to be sure, I want to define copywriting, copywriter, and several important issues, because I believe that defining a subject can really, subject and defining what copywriting is can really help us with writing copy. Then I will. There will be 3 stages of this webinar, what you need to do before writing copy, and I will give you 4 tips on what to do before writing, 8 tips on what you need to do when you actually start writing, and 1 tip on what you need to do after writing. And then there will be time for questions. So let's start with a question: what is copywriting and what's its purpose? As I have said, if we want to become good copywriters and create effective copy, we must understand what copywriting actually is. I don't know about you. As for me, I completed 2 faculties and I have a master's degree in Polish studies and English studies. And when I actually started my studies, my family was like, "Oh God, what you're doing? You'll never find a proper job after studying philology." So So there was a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. And when I finally finished my studies and found a job as a copywriter in an IT company, I was very proud of myself. I mean, I had a proper job, a job that I liked. I had a decent salary and, well, everything seemed really fine until I visited my grandmother and she asked me what I actually do as a copywriter, what copywriting actually is. And you know what? I was really lost. It was so difficult to say what copywriting is. And I had to explain a number of different things. What is copywriting? What is its purpose? And, well, why the hell I am so obsessed with grammar and spelling and other issues. And you know, it was very tricky. Especially, and it is also always very tricky when I try to explain other people what I do as a copywriter. And, you know, the situation is especially difficult when people think that it has something to do with intellectual property law, because copywriting and copyright sounds almost the same. So, you know, the struggle is real. So, what copywriters actually do? Well, copywriters obviously write, but not only. They do a number of other things. I really like this picture from a TV series Game of Thrones, which connects one of the characters and copywriting. According to this picture that you can see on the right, copywriters drink and know things. Well, that's perfectly true. Copywriters drink, usually a lot of coffee, and know things, a lot of things. They are basically experts at everything. And if they are not experts, well, they know how to become them. So copywriters write, of course. They do research, interviews, they edit, proofread, and often also manage some projects or plan and implement marketing campaigns. What's important to understand is that while words are the main output of a copywriter, writing isn't necessarily what we spend most of our time doing. We have to do a lot of research and thinking, tweaking and formatting, and a bunch of other seemingly peripheral tasks. Unlike fiction writers or journalists, copywriters usually write with an agenda, the client's agenda. So this agenda might be to promote a product, but it might also be to educate an audience or demonstrate some kind of an expertise. So what copywriters actually write? Well, copywriters write pretty much everything, like blog posts, emails, white papers, social media posts, industry reports, descriptions of products, company, etc., advertisements, and many, many other things. So, on the basis of what I have just said, we may define copywriting as the act of writing text for the purpose of advertising or other forms of marketing. So copywriting is both art and science. As you can see on this picture, copywriting is a job, a skilled craft, verbal carpentry, words on paper, scripts to time, and one more thing, salesmanship. It's important to remember about salesmanship. We copywriters are here not to express our inner selves like poets or fiction writers. We are here to encourage our audience to take actions we desire. We are here to sell the product and advertise the company we work for. It's really important to remember, because if we want our copywriting to be really, really effective, we must always have this ultimate goal in mind that we want to sell, that we want to make audience want to buy from us, not out of pressure, but because they just enjoy our writing and our help. For me, copywriting can be divided into 3 important stages. The first one is what you do before writing. The second one is writing. And the third one is checking what you have written. All those stages are really important. And, if you neglect one of those stages, you have 0 chance of succeeding. So let me show you several tips for each stage of copywriting. Let's start with some tips on what you need to do before writing. Surprisingly enough, there's quite a lot of things you need to think about before you start writing. The first one is forgetting everything you've learned at school, be it school or college, university, etc. Academic writing doesn't really prepare us for developing business copy at all. Of course, grammar and spelling are very important, but in terms of writing technique, school teachers encourage elaborate vocabulary and structural conformity. And the problem is that it doesn't really go well with copywriting. Great copywriting isn't about following rules. It's about knowing when to break them and how to break them. For example, you might remember from your high school that you should never start a sentence with "and" or "but." But why? Right? It's nothing in copywriting. It's not wrong. I'm sure you have seen a number of blog posts in which there are sentences starting with "and" or "but." And, it's perfectly fine when you write for the internet. So, of course, So as you can see, there are most of the rules you will learn at school should be forgotten, because copywriting is about creativity. You need to be creative, and following an archaic set of rules doesn't really help creativity. So, as I have said, the first step is forgetting everything you've learned at school. The second thing is knowing your big idea. You have to know the product and the company you write for. You should start with really thinking about what you are selling and how does it benefit the customer. You must still distill this big idea down to a single clear sentence. You should really clarify and articulate your big idea, and this would be a crucial step in the selling process. So work on your description of the company or a product until you have a rock solid big idea expressed in a short sentence as clear as crystal. The basic structure is taking into account at the beginning the audience, then their problem and how to solve this problem, then including your product and how the product can solve this problem, and how it solves the problem. So let me give you an example. If I were to describe my company and my company's product, a widget named CallPage, I would go for something like this. Now CEOs and marketers worldwide can improve conversion on the website by using CallPage, because it lets you contact your customers in 28 seconds before they leave the website. So I have the audience defined, marketers and CEOs. I point to the problem, conversion on the website. I include the product because I say that you can improve conversion on your website by using CallPage. And then I go on to describing how my product can help my customers. So it allows companies contact customers in 28 seconds before and just before those customers decide to leave the website. So, as you can see, this is quite easy to do, but you really have to sit and think about it for some time so that this big idea is clearly defined. It will really help you later in writing copy for your company and product. The third important thing is, and probably the most important thing, is learning who your customer is. And, this is one of the most essential parts. You have to know your customer. As a copywriter, you should, operate a little bit like a hunter. A good hunter knows where to find his prey and how to catch it. He knows whether his prey is likely to appear at night or at early morning or at some other time of the day. He knows where his prey would appear and what his prey would do. And you, as a copywriter, should be like this hunter. You should learn as much as you can about your customer and about your target audience before casting them your message. Well, you may wonder why this is so important. I would say that it's so important because it's really not possible to create a universal message that will encourage all the people, all the population to buy from you. By knowing your audience, you can tailor your message to their needs. So you can use the language they speak, metaphors. You can find metaphors that would appeal to them, highlight the specific benefits of your product to this group of people. I'm very sorry, as I have said, I have a cold, so just give me a minute. Okay, as I have said, knowing your audience will help you tailor your message to their needs. And well, last but not least, it will make your copy less boring. So before you start writing, think about your potential customers. Answer a series of questions about the personal background, the company, the position they hold, their challenges, goals, hobbies, shopping preferences, etc. Try to be as specific as you can. And as a result, you will amass invaluable information that you can use to attract attention and inspire action. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you need to create description of a product, of a cosmetic product for men. As I have said, it's very good to create this buying persona and get to know him better. It's always good to include a photo of this person, of your ideal customer, because then it will be easier for you to imagine this person and who this person is. And you can go for this ordinary version. You can find this, an average male, young man in white, of course, man in his 30s in an elegant suit, smiling like in this picture here. And then you can start thinking about creating a description of a product for him. But with this kind of a person and with this kind of photo, you will go for something ordinary. So let's look at the description and of the product of Dove Men Care shampoo. So you've got section about the product. Right, Dove Men Care Thick and Strong Fortifying Shampoo and Conditioner is designed specifically for men with fine and thinning hair or concerned about hair loss. Results in visibly thicker and fuller hair with caffeine and calcium to help strengthen your hair, leaving it visibly healthy, thicker and resilient, etc., etc., etc. And don't get me wrong. This description is actually fine. It highlights the benefits of the product. But there is one very crucial point here. This description is terribly boring. I mean, would you be encouraged to buy this shampoo? I bet not. So let's look at something better. Let's stay with men's cosmetics, and let's take some other cosmetic, and this would be a beard oil. So if I were to write a description of a beard oil, I would try to think about my potential customer and about who he is. And maybe I will also look for people among my friends who would be likely to buy such a product. It's always good to try to find somebody whom you know and who probably would be interested in the product, because it's much easier to get into the psyche of this person. So if I were to create a description of a beard oil and create a persona, I would think that, a man who would buy a beard oil, certainly he would have a beard. Probably he would be young, in his 20s or early 30s, and probably who would be a hipster or so-called lumbersexual. And I would pick I would pick a photo of this person, and he would look like a person on the picture on this presentation. And what about the description? Well, I found a really amazing description in the internet of such a beard oil. Look at it. Bring out the woodsman in you. This beard oil has been cultivated by months of research and made with only the finest natural blends of oils. Simply put, it is the best beard oil on the market. The Beard brand beard oil is designed to be very lightweight and will keep your beard conditioned and shiny. Because it's a lightweight blend, it won't weigh down your beard or feel greasy. The only thing left behind is the intoxicating fragrance. The Tree Ranger blend is our most potent blend of the silver labeled oils. It's like you are stepping right into a forest of eucalyptus, cedar, and pine. In fact, people may be wondering why your face was hugging a tree. You shouldn't leave for your next camping trip without a bottle of this fine product. Well, what do you think about it? Doesn't it sound encouraging? Well, I think that this description is much more powerful than the description of Dove shampoo. It is fun to read, it's interesting, it has a spark of humor, and you know, when you read about this face hugging a tree, I mean, you can actually imagine that, right? I think it's quite nice, and well, as for me, I feel like buying this oil, and well, I don't have a beard, so well, I believe that's how your description should look like. And the key to creating such a description is finding your perfect customer. The fourth important thing is to learn what problems your customers face. So right after researching your target audience, you should understand the problem that you are solving for them and the problem and the pain that this problem causes. I would say that the simplest and most effective way to do this is to describe this problem in a really great detail. It's a psychological principle identified by marketing wizard Jay Abraham. The more accurately you can describe your reader's problem in terms they relate to, the more they instinctively feel that you must have an answer to this problem. So use the reader's own language, the very words and phrases they use to describe the problem they want to solve. So, for instance, if you are writing about fitness and weight loss, you might begin by describing the current situation of your potential customer in this way. You've tried every fad diet that's come along. You've started and stopped a dozen different exercise programs, perhaps joined several different gyms, but the truth is you can't seem to take the weight off. Perhaps you're even feeling a little disgusted with yourself and your inability to control your eating and your weight. You feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work. So, how about this description? I believe that that's a kind of a description that many people can actually relate to. You should remember that your goal is not to judge the behavior of your potential customer, but rather describing their experience as it currently is. It means that you have to understand your customer's experience. You must empathize with your reader and have the feelings they have. Then you must develop the feelings of excitement that come from knowing the problem that can be solved. And then you will be able to write a very persuasive copy. If you do it well, your audience will love you. And, of course, a bit of humor always helps. And as an interesting example, I would like to show you a label from wine bottle. And here you can read, "Do not let this bottle serve as an inspiration to call your ex in a pathetic attempt to get back together. Some very fine grapes have died in the making of this wine. Show some respect." I really like this one. I believe it's hilarious. And I think that it really appeals to potential customers' problems. I guess that this is a kind of a wine which was created, manufactured for women, because women usually drink wine when they are in a depression after a breakup. And this little label is funny, is interesting, and well, I believe that many customers, even if they are not going through a very massive breakup, would really appreciate this kind of copy and buying the wine just for the fun of it. So, as I have said, a little bit of humor and a knowledge about your potential customers' problems really, really helps. So, summing this part up, you need to remember about three important things about the product and this big idea, about the person you want to encourage to buy your product, and about the pain that this person has, and about the pain that your product can solve. And when you know these three things inside out, you can actually move to another stage, to writing. So, what to do during this stage? How to write copy that really sucks your customers in? First of all, you should create a story. Provide a story and tell a story. People love stories. It was how culture was created, out of the need to tell a story. And stories are really effective if we want to sell something. People are really more likely to buy if they know that there is a certain story behind the product or behind the company they buy from. Let me show you an example from real life, a significant objects project. There was a certain experiment conducted by a group of researchers and writers. They bought a number of old objects from flea markets and garage sales, composed a fictional story for each item, and put everything on sale. And look at this one. You have an object. Well, it's difficult to say what it actually is, but you have a photo and there is a short story under the photo. Probably it will be difficult for you to read it, so let me read you what's written under the picture. It's certainly a something, Lily murmured, upon being introduced to the object. But what kind of something is it? This, said Oliver, creating the object reverently in his open palms, is the something that is going to save our marriage. And there is quite a long story going on later. We don't have time to read the whole story, but the main point is that with this story, this group of researchers was able to sell the product for much higher price. They paid for it 19.90 cents and they sold it for $20. And everything thanks to this story. And I believe that significant objects project really shows you the power of story in marketing. Well, of course, you don't have to write, I don't know, the Iliad or new Harry Potter series. You can just stay short and sweet. You can do like bonobos. which provides their story in a few short sentences. How it all started. We started bonobos because we couldn't find pants that fit. They were either way too tight or too boxy. We fixed it. Now we have expanded our playbook to shirts and suits. And this one is perfectly fine. There is a story behind the brand, a story many people can relate to. I mean, who wouldn't relate to the problem of not finding proper clothes? And it really encourages people to check what they have to sell. So if your company has some interesting origins, write about it. If your product has some interesting origins, write about it. Provide a story. Embrace your inner writer and, create stories because people really, really love stories. The second thing you should do is using the language of benefits. So to put it simply, you should write how your potential customers can benefit from the product. And remember, the copy you write is not about you. It's not about the product, actually. It's not about the company. It's about the audience. Everything's about the audience. People are not really interested in the ingredients of your hair conditioner. Unless, of course, you tell them how these ingredients can change and improve their hair. So, how to speak with the language of benefits? There's a very easy way, and it's called laddering. How does it? It's very simple to do. You just keep on pursuing the issue and ask questions about the product so that you go from asking about functions of the product to its emotional value. So you can ask, why did you buy this? And the answer would be because of that. Why that? Because of something. Why something? Because, and step by step, we reach the real deep emotional reason for buying the product. So let me give you an example. So you can, for example, ask, why did you decide to go for a dancing course? Well, the answer would be because I wanted to learn to dance. And this would be a good basic answer. But you can also ask, why did you decide to learn to dance? And the answer would be, well, I wanted to feel better. I wanted to dance to impress my love interest during a party and be more confident, because learning to dance would mean that I feel more confident. I know how to dance and I feel more confident during parties. And this is a very good start for writing persuasive copy. If you want to advertise a dancing course, you should, of course, write about the chance of learning to dance, but you should also point out to some other benefits, like, learning to be more confident to impress girls during a party, about the dance course being a chance to meet new people. So always try to find this deeper reason, because it will help you create better, more interesting and more persuasive copy. Short examples from two companies, from HubSpot and from HubSpot homepage, which advertises its product with generate leads, close deals, and manage your pipeline with the HubSpot growth stack. And this really appeals to what HubSpot's customers need and what they have to have. Another one from BitSketch, create professional client proposals in minutes. So here you have this, you have a call to action like create professional proposal in proposal. You point out that they can do it in minutes, so very quickly without losing their time. And it's perfect. It's really perfect, and it's a piece of a very persuasive copy. The third thing you need to remember is speaking your audience's language. You should always keep your audience in mind and use the language they use. You should remember that you would speak a different kind of language to children. So if you sell toys, you would have to provide a different kind of, for very small children, you would have to provide a little bit different kind of language than you would use selling toys for, well, let's say teenagers. And of course, also, when you advertise some kind of a product, an application, for example, Snapchat, you have to use a different language because, you know, Snapchat users are usually young. These are usually teenagers, and you would have to use a different language than you would use in case of promoting HubSpot, for example, which is used by experienced marketers who are usually adults. So always remember about the language. Because if you want your potential customers to actually read what you write and buy from you, you should show that you are one of them. You know how they feel, what they need, and that they can trust you. So please remember about tailoring your language to your audience. Another thing is using specific examples. You know, we like to buy with emotions. We usually make decisions on the basis of emotions, but it's always good to have a little bit of logic to it. So using specific examples can really, really help. Let's take CallPage for example. Here at CallPage we have this widget, and which offers a free callback in 28 seconds. And there is always a question, well, why it's 28 seconds? It's not 60 seconds, it's not 30 seconds, it's 28. Well, why do we use it? First of all, it really catches the eye. It makes the audience wonder why 28 seconds. And also, they believe that if we write such a specific number like 28 seconds, then we must really know what we do. And well, of course we know what we do, right? But such specific examples really catch the eye. People like specifics and they hate vagueness. So remember about it when writing your copy. The fifth trick to writing good copy is creating urgency. You know, people don't really like moving when they are in a comfy position. And the same goes for people in a comfortable state of mind. Therefore, if your copy leaves readers with the impression that your offer will always be there, waiting for them to pull the trigger, they may use it as a justification to not convert on your call to action. They will sleep on it, consider other options, and, weigh the pros and cons. And after all, they may, do nothing at all because you gave them the chance to talk themselves out of it. So don't do that. Create urgency. Set a deadline. Use some time-sensitive language like this offer ends tomorrow, or it's your last chance, or these savings won't last forever. You can also play like the scarcity card and remind your audience that there are only a few seats left or supplies are limited. This the point of this is to make your customers feel very uneasy about writing. Strange as it sounds, the more uncomfortable they are, the more likely it is they will be compelled to actually act. So here are two examples. The first one is from some beauty shop, and you can see this offer here: a sale up to 30% this week, special offers. So here you can see that there is a kind of an urgency, and that this offer lasts only for a week, and that the customers have to act quickly to buy products which are on sale. Also, example from Walmart, like, hurry, take advantage of your best offer ever. So you have this time-sensitive word like hurry, best offer ever. You know, it's perfect. Use it. The sixth thing is always use an active voice. Let's take two sentences into consideration. The first one: the exam was passed by Graham, and Graham passed the exam. Which one sounds better? Well, I believe, and I hope that you agree with me, that the second one is much better, since this is the one that uses an active voice. An active voice should be used in all forms of writing, but because it's really important, and it's really important in business copy because it makes copy smoother and faster to read. It gets to the point quicker, it's more impactful, and it is also more natural. We usually speak in an active voice. The seventh tip for you is using paragraph breaks. So remember about using paragraph breaks in your copy. A page is going to be a hard read without absorbing a single word. Less is more, and no one's moved to sift through a large box of text, so embrace white space. Eighth tip is using powerful words. There are certain powerful words you can always use in your copywriting, and those words will make your copywriting more effective. These words include, well, safe, elite, tested, increase, proven, remember, be the first, guaranteed, and so on, so on. You can find a list of those words in the internet, and they are really, really effective when it comes to writing powerful copy. And what to do after you finish writing? Well, the first thing is check what you have written. You have to do it, and always don't forget it. Don't forget about it. Check for any inconsistency, incongruency, grammar errors, etc., etc. It's really, really important. If you have some time, then leave the text aside for a few hours, for a few days. It depends on your deadline, of course, but it's always good to leave it aside for some time. Then you can come back to it, check it again, and check whether there are any errors in your copywriting. Remember that a good copywriter is also a great editor, and you should avoid any mistakes, grammar errors, spelling mistakes at really all costs. So, if you check everything, you can finally publish your copy and see how it works. And that would be all from me for today. Thank you very much for